Okay, yesterday we were talking about, what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about access to electronic media, and I actually had discussed whether or not access to TV mattered anymore, whether we had switched over to more access to internet and other tools of social media, and I had talked about whether or not we wanted to do some surveys on that, and we could discuss that further. But and we had talked about countries where there was limited access to social media and to internet in the areas of political content, social content, conflict and security, and internet tools. So let's look at how why folk and popular culture face sustainability challenges. So there are sustainability challenges for folk culture. Increased connections with popular culture make maintaining centuries-old practices difficult. So if you think about it, it can be more difficult to maintain folk practices when people are more interested in popular culture. People are more interested in music that's on the radio or music that they're hearing on the internet or through social media, and they may not be as interested in something that has been passed down historically, or they may not be as interested in stories or in history or in clothing that is important to their culture as important to their folk culture. This is going to impact the impacts of globalization on the landscape are going to create challenges in maintaining a unique landscape, and we see that in the way places are globalized and how you can go to different cities all over the world and they all kind of have a similar look and feel because of the restaurants that you're going to see all over the world, the types of cars you're going to see all over the world, the hotels you're going to see all over the world, and the fashion you'll see all over the world, and the way that globalization spreads all these trends. And so you're not going to see the uniqueness that people used to have in different parts of the world. This global diffusion of popular culture beliefs challenges the subservience of women to men that's embedded in some folk customs. So, whereas in some places in the world, it's the norm is that men are more traditionally leaders and women do different tasks than men, and women are followers in families or followers politically. Global diffusion has kind of allowed women to have more power and more say in families, in governments, and in other situations that has really begun to change things and how the role that women play. So this can also adversely impact the environmental quality in two ways. One, we have the pollution of the landscape. So uniform landscape used to generate product recognition. So for example, in certain places there were certain motels, in certain places there were certain fast food restaurants. But now we have a lot of different golf courses, and this is changing the environment by drastically modifying the natural state of the environment. And then we have the depletion of scarce natural resources. So the diffusion of popular customs has increased the demand for animal products and raw materials. For example, raw materials like minerals and fossil fuels. So these products are becoming more scarce as more people are wanting these products because they're becoming more popular. Okay, so this shows us the growth of waste per capita, but it also shows the increasing rate of recycling. So it shows from the 60s to 2010. So we see from the 60s to really 1985, there wasn't a lot of increase in recycling. And then from 85 to 95, there was a huge increase. Recycling really took off then. And then from 95 to 2010, it's slowly grown. Okay, so let's just summarize the folk and popular culture unit. So traits and leisure activities are associated with folk culture tend to diffuse more slowly than those of popular culture. Folk clothing tends to be greatly influenced by local environmental conditions, whereas popular culture clothing tends to represent income and occupation. Important elements of material culture include clothing, food, and shelter. And popular culture is diffused around the world through electronic media, and that began with TV, but it's since phased over into the internet and social media. Globalization and greater connectivity have fostered a world where new ideas are spread more rapidly and fewer places of isolation exist. The end. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.